The dating app match was my dead sister. I matched with my dead sister on a dating app. Not someone who looked like her. Not a cute coincidence. It was her. Same dimple. Same scar under the chin. Same memory of the treehouse I fell from when I was 8 and blamed it on raccoons. A story no one else even remembered. 3 years ago, we buried Emma. A fatal car crash. Closed casket. The coroner said she died instantly. The body was unrecognizable but confirmed by dental records. We mourned. We moved on. Or tried to. Until she showed up on my phone. I remember that night too clearly. It was raining hard. She was driving home late from her boyfriend's house. A truck skidded, hit her car sideways, and both vehicles caught fire. The wreck was unrecognizable. The coroner said the body was burned beyond recognition, but dental records matched. That was all we had. Her boyfriend was never found, assumed missing or dead. It crushed our family. I didn't date for 3 years. Couldn't. I was too broken, especially by the guilt. Emma and I had argued the day before she died over her boyfriend, ironically. I told her he gave me a bad feeling. Controlling. She said I didn't understand. When I finally tried dating again, I downloaded Bumble. Nothing serious. Just trying to ease myself into it. Then I saw her. She went by Lily now, with darker hair and sharper eyes, but I knew. I swiped right, not out of romance, but because I had to know. We matched. And what she said next made everything unravel. Maybe I am someone you used to know. When I found the profile. Her name was Lily. But her face. Her eyes, her lips, that one dimple on the left, it was Emma. My stomach flipped. I stared at the profile for a long time, trying to find the flaw that would prove me wrong. The hair was darker. The style was different. She looked older, thinner. But people change. Especially after trauma. Still, I told myself it had to be a doppelganger. Had to be. The idea that my dead sister was on a dating app felt insane. And yet, I swiped right. It wasn't some creepy brother moment, it was more like I needed to know. Needed closure. I figured if we matched, I could see if she really resembled Emma up close. We did match. And that's where it all began to unravel. At first, the conversation was simple. She said I looked familiar. I joked that maybe we passed each other in a past life. She laughed and said, maybe in this one. Her humor felt too familiar. Then it got weirder. She asked about my childhood. I gave vague answers. She replied with specific memories. Remember the treehouse you fell from when you were 8, she wrote. You blamed the raccoons. I froze. I never told that story online. It was never posted anywhere. Only Emma knew about that. Even my parents forgot. Another time, she asked if I still had Mr. Fuzzless, my stuffed bear. She even described the ear I'd chewed up as a kid. I wanted to confront her right then, but a part of me was afraid. Afraid I was hallucinating. Or being pranked. Or falling into some scam run by someone who'd done their research. Instead, I asked, you really remind me of someone I used to know. She paused and typed, maybe I am someone you used to know. I asked her to meet. She agreed. Neutral place. Daylight. A coffee shop downtown. When she walked in, I felt the world collapse around me. It wasn't just resemblance. It was her walk. Her nervous lip-biting habit. The tiny scar under her chin from the time we wrestled over the remote and she hit the table. It was Emma. She saw my face and sat down quietly. I knew you'd figure it out, she said. And in that moment, her voice broke through the memory of our last fight, when she told me you don't understand. I thought she was just being defensive. I didn't know it was fear. I didn't know she was already planning how to disappear. What I didn't know then, what I couldn't have known, was that she was already deep into the storm. Emma wasn't just brushing me off out of pride or anger. She was surviving. And survival makes you do strange things, like defending the very person destroying you, because the alternative is more terrifying. Adam didn't start out as a monster. He was charming at first, thoughtful even. He remembered anniversaries, brought her flowers after work, cooked her favorite meals. But slowly, he isolated her. Subtle things at first, discouraging nights out with friends, acting hurt when she didn't answer quickly, accusing her of looking at other guys. She dismissed it as jealousy. Passion. Love. Then came the control. He'd show up at her work unannounced. He accidentally erased texts from her phone. Once, when she didn't answer for an hour, he threatened to report her missing. She laughed at the time, thought he was being dramatic. But the day he grabbed her wrist hard enough to leave a bruise, she stopped laughing. Still, she didn't tell me. Because she remembered our argument 3 months earlier, when I called him possessive. She remembered the frustration in my voice, the judgment. And now, in the middle of real danger, she convinced herself I wouldn't understand, that I'd lecture her instead of helping her. So when we fought that day, it wasn't just an argument about a guy. It was a cry for help wrapped in barbed wire. And I missed it. She told me you don't understand, and I let her walk away with that. I wish I'd asked again. My mouth went dry. I wanted to scream, to cry, to hug her, to punch a wall. But all I could say was, how? You're dead. I buried you. She nodded slowly. No, you buried someone else. How Emma faked her death, you ask? It started with her boyfriend, Adam. Adam was more than just controlling. He was volatile. Methodical. Sick in a way that didn't look like Hollywood's version of a monster, but something worse, a charming, calculated manipulator. He tracked Emma's location constantly. Not just phone tracking, he installed an app disguised as a calendar update, so he could read her messages, see her photos, and know who she was with. She didn't find it until weeks later. He had 2 faces. In public, he was polite, well-dressed, attentive. To friends and family, he was the perfect boyfriend. But in private, his voice dropped cold. He'd call her stupid if she questioned him. Criticized her makeup. Called her work pointless. Once, when she laughed at a coworker's joke, he smashed her phone on the floor. Emma kept a journal of it all, hidden behind a vent in her closet. Dates, times, words he used, injuries he caused. She even recorded voice memos when she could, his threats, his rage, his tears begging her not to leave. The turning point came when she tried to leave for the second time. He showed up at our parents' house while they were away. Calmly. Casually. He knocked on the door and told Emma that if she left him again, he'd make sure our family paid for it. She didn't ask what that meant. She didn't need to. She knew then, he would never let her go. Not alive. That's when she reached out to the underground network that helped women disappear. But it wasn't easy. There were interviews, verifications, a trial run. She had to fake calm, fake love, fake her whole life for weeks while they prepared the exit. She kissed him goodnight knowing he might kill her if he sensed anything. Every time he grabbed her arm, she flinched inside, but smiled outside. Because if she messed up, she wouldn't live long enough to escape. He wasn't just controlling, he was dangerous. Obsessive. He tracked her phone, checked her messages, isolated her from friends. She tried to leave twice. The second time, he threatened to hurt our parents. That night, she panicked. He was spiraling. Drunk. She thought he might kill her or himself, maybe both. She made a call to someone she'd met months before online, a woman who helped domestic abuse victims disappear. A real-life ghosting expert. Emma had secretly documented everything, photos of bruises, recorded threats, stolen financial documents. Enough to prove abuse, enough to get help, but not through legal means. She wanted out, not a courtroom. With help from this woman's network, she staged a fake escape. Adam's truck was found burned out in the crash, but here's the twist, Emma wasn't driving. The body was a Jane Doe, a young homeless woman who died from overdose 2 days earlier. Her body had been kept unofficially by someone working in the morgue. No ID, no family. The network staged the crash using Emma's car, the Jane Doe's body, and Adam's truck. Adam never knew it was coming, but he was in the car. He died for real. Emma vanished that night with a new ID, Lily Carson. She didn't just vanish into thin air, the escape was brutal, calculated, and terrifying. That night after the staged crash, she didn't sleep. She was given a burner phone, cash in a Ziploc bag, and a set of clothes she'd never worn before. Her guide, a woman named Moira, drove her through backroads for 12 straight hours, switching vehicles twice, ditching her old SIM card in a river, and scrubbing her online presence while Emma sat in the passenger seat silently crying. Her new ID was in the name of Lily Carson, not just a fake name but a complete identity package, a birth certificate, an old high school diploma, a social security number pulled from a child who had died decades ago. It wasn't flawless, but good enough to pass in most systems. The first safe house was in Nebraska. An old farmhouse outside a ghost town with no cell signal, no Wi-Fi. She stayed there for 6 weeks, didn't leave the house once. The windows were covered with newspapers. A woman named Dee lived there too, a retired nurse who disappeared from an abusive marriage in the 90s and never went back. Dee taught her the rules, no photos. No journals. No social media. Don't get attached. Always carry cash. Use fake names even for pizza delivery. Most of all, never contact the past. That was the rule Emma broke when she signed up for Bumble. But back then, she followed everything. She dyed her hair in the sink, ditched every trace of Emma, even learned to write with her left hand to throw off forensic handwriting analysis in case it ever came to that. After Nebraska, she moved to Idaho using a forged rental agreement from a contact in the network. She worked under the table at a small bookstore, then later at a thrift shop that paid in cash. Her landlady knew nothing about her. She said her family died in a house fire, a lie that came a little too easily. And every night, she'd dream of the crash. Sometimes, she saw Adam crawling from the wreckage. Other nights, it was her own funeral. The guilt of the Jane Doe haunted her the most, the nameless girl who had no one, now buried under her name. Emma left flowers on her grave once, when she passed through town months later. No name on the headstone. Just beloved daughter. Therapy helped. Slowly. Her therapist, under the table and off the books, helped her unpack the trauma, not just of the abuse, but of the vanishing. Disappearing is a form of grief, she learned. You grieve your name, your face, your memories. You grieve the future you thought you'd have. She started drawing again. Sketching faces she remembered. Mine, our parents, the cat we had as kids. In those moments, she started to feel human again. Then one day, she saw a couple laughing at a cafe, and something in her broke. She wanted her life back. Not Emma's life, but some life that wasn't built entirely from lies. That's when she made the Bumble account. Not to date. Just to test the waters. Just to feel real. And that's when she found me. Her biggest regret? The dental records. She swapped dental charts using a stolen access code at a clinic she volunteered at part-time. She never thought it would be used, but it worked too well. The records matched. Closure was declared. She watched our grief from afar. Every time she tried to reach out, she got scared. What if she was arrested? What if it undid everything? So she waited. Changed her hair. Got therapy. Moved twice. Stayed hidden. Until recently. I missed you, she said. You were the only person who ever saw through him, why I didn't recognize her right away. Looking back, I feel stupid. How could I not recognize my own sister? But it wasn't just the hair or clothes. It was her eyes. They looked older. Guarded. She smiled differently. Laughed like she was always checking behind her. Trauma changes people. And dating apps aren't meant for deep inspection. You glance, swipe, and move on. If anything, I think part of me refused to believe it could be her. When we matched, I had to test the resemblance. I didn't know. It's easy to say obviously it was her in hindsight, but when someone you buried 3 years ago shows up on your phone screen, you doubt everything before you accept anything. What now? I haven't told our parents. Emma says she wants to, when she's ready. When she's safe. She wants to do it legally this time. Turn herself in for the dental swap, explain everything, see if she can make it right. I said I'd help her. Sometimes I stare at her face now, still not believing she's real. Alive. I'm angry, relieved, confused, but mostly, I'm grateful. I got my sister back. But our family? They're still grieving a grave that's filled with a stranger. That truth came a week later. Emma said she was ready as anyone could be to rise from the dead. We met at our parents' house on a Sunday afternoon. I didn't tell them why. Just that I had a surprise, and it was important. They were confused, nervous. My mom kept asking if I'd eloped. My dad assumed I was bringing home a girlfriend. Neither of them was even remotely prepared. When Emma walked in, my mother dropped her coffee. The cup shattered on the floor. My father stood frozen, mouth open, color drained from his face. Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad, Emma said, her voice barely above a whisper. Silence. My mother took a step back. Then another. No, she said. No. 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 This is sick. This is cruel. It's me, Emma said, her voice cracking. I'm sorry. I didn't know how to do this. My dad's knees buckled. He dropped into the couch like someone had knocked the air out of him. You're dead, he muttered. I buried you. I know, she whispered. I know. And I'm so sorry. It all spilled out then. The crash. The network. The Jane Doe. Adam. The staged dental records. The nights alone. The guilt. My mother sobbed, not delicate movie tears, but the kind that racked her whole body. She slapped Emma's arm once, hard, and then hugged her like she'd never let go. You let us believe you were gone, my mom cried. We mourned you. We aged 10 years overnight. I know, Emma said. I was scared. And then it was too late. Then I didn't know how to come back without destroying everything. Why didn't you tell us about Adam, my father asked, voice quiet, full of defeat. Because I didn't want you to get hurt. He threatened you. I couldn't risk it. We sat there for hours. Crying. Repeating questions. Holding hands. My mom kept touching Emma's hair like she couldn't believe it was real. My dad asked to see her scar under the chin, the one he cleaned himself when she was 6. When she showed it, he broke down again. Eventually, the conversation turned practical. Legal. Real. Emma said she'd turn herself in for the identity fraud. For the falsified records. She didn't want to hide anymore. But she wanted to do it with us beside her. That night, I walked out onto the porch while the three of them sat inside, talking and laughing through tears. For the first time in years, the house felt alive again. And even though there was still a grave out there with her name on it, I knew something had been resurrected here, too. Not just Emma. Hope.